welcome back to the pod. Today I have the beautiful Miss Sandra Mack with me. Hi, Sandra.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for coming on. Sandra is a creative life and business coach. And if you want to know more about what she does, check out her website at womenofthegalaxy.com. Sandra, can you well, and your I said life and business coach, but the way you articulated what exactly you do is so much better than me. So please tell people what you do exactly.
Yeah, I feel nowadays is always this challenge when people ask you, "What do you do? What are you? Who are you? What's your job title?" So I never felt like I want to attach to one specific title because, like, yeah, like you said, I'm a creative. I come from a very creative family, so I do lots of design, branding work. I was doing this in the past, like marketing strategies, creative strategies, but at the same time, I also, through my life and business coaching certification, it allowed me also to focus a lot on the human being in front of me when doing design work. And this was actually the beautiful part when I kind of was able to blend two different worlds and come together and like really bring out the essence of the human person, like I said, in front of me, and incorporate that into design work, visuals, and yeah, to like fully express a personal brand and someone. So I usually say creative strategist, creative life and business coach, visionary, dreamer, rebel soul, whatever you want to add on to this. So
Dream rebel. So, who would be your ideal person if they wanted your service?
female leaders, like all the beautiful, aspiring women who, like I said, have big dreams. We have a head full of dreams, but not all of us actually bring all of our dreams to reality. So I would say it's the women who, I don't know, we all face the blocks, we all deal with some kind of trauma, with challenges. Oftentimes it's like, how do we perceive the world? So I feel like for now I'm focusing, like as the name of the brand says, women of the galaxy. It's like all those ladies out there. I feel we all need this. It's like, yeah, we need this uprising of some female energy out there, and I'm just like passionate about supporting women. And of course, a big part of my own journey plays into this. So this is the mission that I committed to now.
That's awesome. How did you even become or get into doing what you do and becoming a life coach, business coach?
I try to remember. It's like there are always like so many pieces that at some point come together, like a puzzle. And then, oh, and then of course, this is what I am right now. So I would say, I mean, probably many can relate. I've been in a corporate job for a very long time. And I always felt like that person that just like, I don't belong there. Something feels off. I was like missing this sense of fulfillment, or whatever you want to call it, like this real excitement. And it was like me literally put into a system, and you have to just like function like a machine. And I was craving something bigger. And of course there were different obstacles, challenges in my life. I've had like a kind of turbulent entry into this world when I was born during my childhood. So I feel there was always this kind of something on my mind and my head where I felt, okay, something's wrong with me. Like, I don't want to say it this way, but I think we all at some point are in a point in our life when we ask ourselves, okay, am I doing the right things? Am I weird or whatever? I feel like a loner, and all these things that come up, when you just start questioning the norm or the status quo. And at some point I hit like a place, or I don't want to say like rock bottom right away, but I was in a not good place where I questioned what I was doing so much. Although, I mean, it was the safe environment, or I thought what is safe.
You
But
are you talking about a safe environment like growing up or your work?
like in the workspace, in the
Oh,
corporate
okay.
world. And I felt like, or at least what I thought like safe is, but it didn't feel safe on the inside. I felt like I need more. So long story short, I ended up quitting my 9 to 5. And I had at that time also like a little side hustle with Mary Kay Cosmetics, actually. So I was growing my own team of women already back then, and basically coaching and leading them. And I wanted to be the best I could be when leading other women, because I had a responsibility. I don't want to like be a person who is like I don't know. Am I allowed to say any bad words
Of
on here?
course.
I don't want to sell anyone like any shit or just be like not good at what I'm always been the perfectionist at some point, and I just wanted to pass on in the best possible way and lead and guide these women. So I
Mhm.
decided to look into coaching, and this is how I ended up doing a coaching certification, like this mix of life and business coaching for 1 year training. And at that time, it started when I quit my 9 to 5, and while doing this certification to also have like being covered with a safe income, I became a flight attendant. So I was basically doing the certification and I was a flight attendant because at the same time I thought I've spent over a decade in an office, Monday till Friday, 9 till 5. So now I feel I want to travel. I want to be out in the world. But so this was my way of free traveling and actually getting paid for it. So, and this was how this adventurous journey started for me.
So, what was your 9 to 5, if you don't mind me asking? Just because I feel like that would be really cool for people. I think people who, I think a lot of us, throughout whatever chapter of our lives, at some point, the lucky ones, they find what they love to do and they ride it. But most of us, we go to what we think is safe, our safe environment, our safe job, and we stay there because that's what we know. And then the idea of pivoting is just terrifying. Like whether or not we want to try something new, or just we've learned that whatever our environment that we're working in is just not for us. That break, it could be really terrifying. So I'm curious to know, what was the 9 to 5 versus what you're doing now?
I was in the pharmaceutical industry
Oh,
within marketing area management, and I was like a project management assistant. So, a kind of man-driven environment in business, I would say, in the pharmaceutical sector, at least back then when I was there. So, yeah, I was dealing literally with like very high-end executives, and so it was on a very high-end level, the division department that I was in. It was nice. I mean, we were as area management, we were responsible for like the offices, the offices around the world. So I've been in touch a lot with different cultures, different people, and it just like really made me like so more open-minded to the world and what's out there. And I got to travel around a little bit as well. And like I said, there's so many little things that kind of contributed to becoming the more free-spirited person and seeing what's out there,
yeah.
and then also like being brave enough to kind of let go of that corporate job.
I love it. And I think for me it's personal. I like to personally hear it, and I couldn't imagine that I'm the only one, because yeah, I think I'm kind of I am still in it where I know what I know, but I want to explore something else, and that break off feels terrifying. But to hear that it's possible, it feels terrifying just because what our resume says one thing. So to pursue something else, it's
Yeah.
just how do we break into something, and all those questions goes through our mind. So anyways, thank you for sharing. And for me, it inspires me to have the courage to break off and do anything, because your transition from pharmaceuticals to what you're doing now is completely different.
It's like day and night. There's for sure. I mean, this is the thing. I feel like even in my corporate job, there are so many things that contributed to what I've created now. I've like learned, like I said, even like maybe like dealing with high executives and all of these things. So even as a flight attendant working in business class, you learn your communication skills become better. You're like building confidence and talking to like more high end people or whatever you want to call it. So it's like, and along that journey, like even having colleagues, or I remember like one or two of my female colleagues who have been a little bit older and wiser, and they actually provided, and not saying they replaced my mom, but they provided maybe skills and insights into life that my mom just couldn't provide because
Hmm.
of her own trauma history. So
Hmm.
it's like interesting once you look back and you find like all this pieces in your life that actually helped you grow so much. So I appreciate the experience, but like the dream, like this desire, this feeling inside of creating something bigger than me and having a greater impact in the world was just like way, way stronger. Although I wasn't even aware about that probably right when I quit. Of course, you're figuring out like, okay, how do I survive? How do I pay my bills? And how do I move on? But now it's like with technology, like even now being for us being able here on the Zoom, like recording, doesn't matter if you're on the other side of the globe. It's like we have so many opportunities now to actually build something on site before you even leave a 9 to 5. It's like you can have like a smooth transition from one to the other, and like no one has to do it like I did it, like, okay, ciao, I'm out, and then I'm just doing I, I'm gone. So you don't have to do it this way, and it was fun. It was back then, like the digital nomads. It's like it came up back then, like 4 or 5 years ago, and it was like, how will you do? How will you make money? I was like, I will work remotely, and then like since 2 years, everyone's literally working remotely, and no one's questioning it anymore. So it's just funny to see how we as a society also develop into like this more free flowing environment where you can just like fully express yourself.
Yeah. I like that you were saying that you picked up things along the way to contribute to the things that you're doing now. When you and I first met, we talked about, I think we connected on like where we believe in like the universe and how it works, and things happen. And just like your jobs the skills that you've collected and put in your bag along the way kind of built you and prepared you for this transition in your life. So I remember one of the things that I was really in awe about was you told me how you lived in Germany and then your transition to LA. Please share that if anyone is, in their place in their life where, if you need a sign, this is your sign.
Oh, this is what it seriously was. I mean, it's like I'm sometimes like still kind of so blown away by my own story, if I can say that.
Of course.
It's been, I mean, this is the thing, like you said, if like at some point all the challenges and everything that happened in my life, at some point I was just sometimes all that was left for me was the faith and the hope that there is some higher power, call it the universe, call it God, whatever it is for you, and that whatever it is, it has your back. And that even if you're like at rock bottom, like in this moments you can decide if it's the end or if it's the new beginning. So I had to learn the hard way. There were like some crash landings, but they had actually contributed to me making this leap from Germany to LA like very easy. So I decided that I wanted to move to LA. It was May 2019, and I was just thinking, I have no idea how I should do that, but something will come up. So I literally kind of send out an order to the universe. I'm just like, please, like you make it happen. You helped me like so many times, like when I thought there's no way like happen. So my friends, by the way, they call me like the ultimate super manifester, because they
Okay.
like they're like, okay, she figured that out how it works. So and then I decided I want to fly to LA and just get a feeling for the city and just really see if my decision was the right one. So I was back that it was like decision made in May. I came here in August, like 3 months later, to just get a feeling like for a kind of vacation. And then I was just like, it was actually a new moon night, and I was scrolling through Instagram and I found this startup company, and I thought, oh, they just have like 6 Instagram posts. I'm a creative, I'm a coach. It's a transformational work that they're offering. So I'm just going to send them an Instagram text. And this startup company was founded by Julian Huff. So people in America probably know her. And so basically for me, a celebrity, like from being from Europe, knowing media and TV only, what, or Hollywood, knowing Hollywood only through TV, was actually for me then, oh, a celebrity. And I just sent that text, and I remember that one sentence was, the way you express yourself through dancing, I express myself through creativity. I don't know what else I wrote, but I believe that this was this one sentence that convinced her to send like my message and my contacts to her team, and then they invited me for an interview. And then basically, this is basically the most, they, after 2 interviews, they offered me a job. They asked me when I could be in LA, and I was like, oh, I can be here like in 2 or 3 weeks, like easy. So I confirmed. I flew back for only 2 weeks. I sold everything. I quit my apartment and everything that I had. I few boxes left at my mom's place, and then, like I said, within this 2 weeks time frame, I was on my way to Los Angeles with 2 pieces of luggage, and I've been here since then. And this is kind of the story how I ended up here. I had no idea what will happen with my visa. I had no idea at all. 1 week before I arrived, actually, a friend reached out. She was like, oh, there's a person that is looking for a roommate. Do you want that apartment? I didn't even look at it. I was like, yeah, I need a place. So it was like literally the universe provided the opportunities, but also an opportunity that I mentioned, like the celebrity factor, because I feel it needed something big for me or something. Oh, like you said, like this is like your chance. This is the sign from the universe. So you either take the leap now or the chance is gone. So for me, there was like no doubt at all. I wasn't even thinking about that. So I just went for it,
And here you
and the
are.
best decision of my life. Yeah.
Yep. And then you also said like that it transpired like your work there, it transitioned and then things kept on lining up, opportunities kept on lining up for you, which kept you here. And now you're doing what you're doing now. So I love that story. And I'm sure anyone listening out there will find inspiration from that. um I do think I like to believe the universe lines things up for you, and for you I think you wholeheartedly believe that. I believe that when it's positive, but I have to remind myself even when it's not moving fast enough, or when things that you don't understand why it's happening, not in your what you're asking for, it's hard in that moment to say,
Yes.
okay, I trust the universe, I'm just going to sit in it and be present and move with it. But I think for you, the good and the bad, you just wholeheartedly trust. And then that goes into my next question is, how did you become this person who is such a positive thinker, and yeah, who you are? Because I couldn't imagine it came overnight. It was a lot of work.
Definitely not. And it's actually funny that how people perceive me. And of course, this is also when it comes to Instagram, social media, we're still so afraid to show up vulnerable and show our dark days. So believe me, I still have the dark days. And but I know deep inside that when I have these moments or something bad happens, it's like really working on your self awareness to really, like I said, to notice, okay, this is happening right now and it's not the end of the world. So I'm not even sure where to begin, but I think it's even when people ask me, oh my God, that's so courageous that you just moved like right away into like, and you didn't even question it. This was easy for me at some point because, like I said, like as a child, I grew up in a very unsafe environment. There was abuse, there was trauma, there was like just things that already required so much from me as a little kid to deal with, that I feel I became like, I don't know, like I became, I would
Resilient.
say, pretty, very like, yeah, very resilient, but also like I had this very hard shell around me. And I'm just like, at some point, I'm not saying that this is good, because at the same time, I also noticed how I numbed myself. Like I cut off myself from the emotion. It's like your soul just flies out into the universe and you are just like, this piece of meat, whatever, like, and it's just like just that body kind of functioning but not feeling. So, and I, along the journey, I just kind of noticed there were like situations in my life that always like forced me to feel like heartbreak, all these kind of things, like failure, where it's like the universe like literally is forcing you to, you need to look inside, deep inside of you, what you were literally hiding away and cutting off from yourself. And this is actually where the power lies. So I would say that all those crash landings, all the hardship, the people that came into my life, I think this is like the beauty. It's like, I'm not sure who said that, but yeah, we understand life backwards. And once you see how life functions and how the universe plays its cards on you, it becomes almost like you're like in your own movie, and you look back and this, and then you become way more self-aware what's happening right now in the present moment. I mean, it's the books that I was reading, if it's like The Power of Now, Dr. Joe Dispenza's work. I feel like once you bring like all these puzzle pieces together of educating yourself, doing like the inner work for yourself, I think this is probably where I'm heading. Like the most essential part, are you willing to return to yourself? Are you really to discover yourself? And how it's like always we're trying to meet and get to know each other, but how well do you know yourself? Or what is it that you are like hiding behind closed doors? What are the stories that it's like you're trying to tear out those pages out of a book, hoping that no one will ever find them and find that out about you. It took me a while to talk about like the dark side of my life at some point, until I noticed there is so much power in pain. And this is also what Women of the Galaxy at some point is about. How do you shift your pain into the power and the pleasure of life? And it's this dance between light and the dark. So it's been the inner work that helped me to become so much more self-aware. But also sometimes I actually like this approach of the unreasonable woman. Sometimes you just need to, it doesn't have to make sense to anyone at all, it just has to make sense to you. And then being like vulnerable enough, and also if you want to embrace success, love, and all these things, how willing are you to embrace the opposite? So if you want to be the greatest success, how willing are you to deal with failure? And I feel life prepared me already for like having nothing. Two times in my life I literally lost everything and I had to move back in with my mom, which is embarrassing. It's shame and all these things that come up. But at the same time, I've noticed I'm actually pretty happy. And it turned me into a minimalist and really value human connection and all these things. And then on the other hand, same with love. If I want like the greatest love of all, there might be pain that comes with it. So accepting and embracing both sides of what life has to offer was a kind of game changer for me, because I noticed like this is like 50% of the spectrum of life, and otherwise we would miss out. How would I know what the beauty is if I don't know what the downside might be? But there's also beauty in the downside. Like I actually love these moments when I'm just like literally crying because I have a broken heart, and then we're just, a friend is with you, we're having wine, and you have these friends who make you laugh, like when you are at your worst, and they still love you when you are at your worst, and they bring back your light. And just like, how would we even have these special moments if everything would always be perfect? I'm literally giving you a TED talk here, but I
I
think
love
this
it.
is,
I love it. Please
but
continue.
no, but I really think this is what kind of shaped me, and just like my experiences made me very humble. And then ending up in a city like LA, where I'm just like, I'm actually this no name from this little village in Germany. And what am I doing in LA? So it's overwhelming when you're suddenly in this jungle where everyone is beautiful. Like there's so many creative, so many beautiful ideas. But even then, just like, no, just be in it. You are part of it now. And this is when Women of the Galaxy was born. And the main three pillars of the brand are it's well-being and wellness. It's like I said, meet yourself and make sure you're well even at your dark days or on your dark days. Then it's creativity. We as creators, like, you are literally responsible for everything that happens in your life, and you have all the power. And like I said, if it's rock bottom, it's either you decide if it's the end or a new beginning. And then there's like this leadership side. So you lead yourself first, basically, if you want to, and then basically lead others and lead in your business. So it's almost like, if you want to scale your business, scale yourself first. It's like we want to nourish ourselves first and have like a solid foundation, and then we bring out even more value out into the world.
I love it. I think that's what sets you apart from other business, like other people who help others grow their business, is like you're helping them with another deeper layer that is so essential to them as a business owner or as a whole, and for them to set them up for healthy, um I don't know, like growth, wealth, success, and just longevity. So I totally think that is so awesome. And I love how you're giving the back. I think this is a good transition to my next question, which is like, what is I we talked about this, like there's some like hesitation between saying I'm a life coach, because there's people who think life coaching and therapy, people, therapists, not all, but some therapists think, oh, life coaching is no bueno, because they don't have the education to really guide someone. But here's my take on it. Personally, I love life coaches. um I think that life, and you and I spoke about it, it's like life coaching, I think the fine people, I before I studied, I thought, yeah, what is the difference between life coaching and being a therapist? And I think there's a fine line where when it touches on clinical mental health and clinical diagnosis, I think that's when you leave it to the mental health therapist. But everything else, behind that line, even, the eternal stuff, again, there's a fine line with mental
Yeah.
stressors and also clinical diagnosis. Like I think a life coach can guide you, but you and I talked about, like, I think, in my opinion, that's where it kind of, the line is drawn.
Yes.
And And the reason why I like a life coach and I think they're necessary because one, I think that there's room for everybody, right? And two, I think everyone brings something different to the table. And as you were just telling me about your background and what made you and molded you into the person that you are, you have so much experience that you could bring to the table and guide someone through whatever they're going through. And I don't think that takes away from you because you don't have the license as a mental health therapist. I even think your experience is more valuable or can be more valuable than someone with just books. I think there's a lot to learn from anybody who has more experience than us or different or not even more, just different experiences from us. I'm constantly learning and I appreciate learning from anybody in all walks of life. And I think just because you have an education, it does not mean you're a good therapist, because let's be real.
Yes.
There's doctors, good teachers, bad teachers. And just because you have that degree doesn't make you better. So
Yes.
that's my take on life coaches. I appreciate them. I love them. I think they're necessary. And I think there's room for everybody, depending what you need.
Yes, and I also feel it's important to also highlight that when it comes to coaching, it's not necessarily that we're fixing people.
That's
Sometimes
right.
people just need like an inspiration. You need
Mm-hmm.
someone that holds you accountable. You know, this is like the thing, like even when it comes to business building, or even with me with Women of the Galaxy, I was in the beginning, I was a one woman show. And then I was like, okay, I actually need a business mentor now because I'm so much into it. I just don't see clearly anymore what I'm doing. So I need someone who actually looks on it from the outside and can give me a different perspective. And then with my business mentor, we nailed down the messaging, we nailed down the services because I was like so immersed in it. So it almost becomes like kind of hard to see the bigger picture or kind of zoom out. So, and I fully agree with you. It's like I would like never coach anyone when I know, okay, there's like a real like medical diagnosis and what they're going through. And this is like really and then we should like respect this fine line, and of course a coach can work alongside with a
Yes,
therapist, but
absolutely.
like kind of developing the kind of skill set to like notice and all of that. And also I feel like we as coaches, I don't like to tell people what to do. I'm focusing more on asking them the right questions so they can find the answers on their own, because this is when the shift happens. And I know that there's like, of course, with all this coaching industry, like everyone can be a coach. It's like not a protected job title or profession. So of course there's like some danger in it, and there might be scams or whatever you want to call this, and people see the big money coming in. And this was like where I sometimes was like hesitant to say I'm a coach, or I rather see myself as a guide or whatever I want to call it, or mentor.
Mhm.
But in the end, like you said, like we all deserve kind of a place in this world. And if I'm like genuinely and with this whole thing, and I'm having like pure intentions, and I'm doing it for the impact and not for the money. Don't get me wrong, we all want to make money, but it's the side effect. Like I learned this like with Women of the Galaxy really a lot, like where I was like, okay, how can I monetize it? Of course you want to monetize a business idea, but like the past weeks I just like noticed how much it fulfills me to just be of service and finally bringing this out into the world and seeing people's reactions and how it like already lights them up. Everyone's like, yeah, I want to be a Woman of the Galaxy too. I am one already. Like, so it's just so nice to see, and just like knowing that we as coaches, as therapists, like the impact we can make, it's just like so much more fulfilling than sometimes like the real boring business side of things, I would say.
Yeah.
But yeah, I keep rambling, but it's just, I think it's beautiful what you said, and it's true what you said. And we're just getting started. And after those past 2 years with everything that's happening in the world, we all are aware of the mental health numbers. We all crave so much to be surrounded by others, like have human connection, be seen, be heard, and like really step into this full self expression of who we are. Like even me, I'm still hiding when it comes to love. I'm a fucking mess. Like it's
Aren't we
like
all? No.
So just to be fully honest, like I still notice how I'm hiding where I eat. So, but like it's the experience, and I'm also like you have to notice the like me being aware of this is like the first step. But how can I change the game now? And like you said, that then your experiences become your tools. So everything I teach, it's not what I actually learned through my certification. It's actually what I learned on my own journey. And then I mix it, of course, with knowledge, the educational information that is already out there, and I bring it together in an easy and simple and like way to teach people and help them along their journey and pass on what I received. So
That's awesome. Honestly, I think I haven't heard of a business program that I've heard of people who helped, business coaches just solely on business, but to have the two combined again, like I said, I think it's really cool. It's really unique. And how many of us start, out there who start a business as women or men who, we feel like we have to start and come out like guns blazing or like assert a certain persona, and then we're dealing with, what is it called, imposter syndrome, and
oh,
then that's another thing, another barrier for us. And how amazing is it for us to have the two guides in one, service, where someone could, like, you could, if you see someone struggling with imposter syndrome, that's something that you could help them through. Whereas, like other services, you'd never get that. I think what you do is so cool, and I'm so excited to see where it goes.
no, I'm excited too, and it's beautiful that you kind of highlight that again. And also another important aspect is probably that it's not always about like kind of recovering from something that happened in your past. Like all these well-being tools can be used to create the future. So I'm actually more the person, or women of the galaxies more, while there will be resources to also help you heal, and it's all valid, because there's like this huge creativity aspect in women of the galaxy. I want to focus also a little bit more on breath work, meditation, to actually incorporate that in your daily business life, so you can use breath work or, like I said, meditation to actually let the ideas find you, your next step for your business. Like, so this way you can make sure that you feel also well throughout your business day, and you're not so. I could talk forever because I'm so excited that it's
Yeah.
coming out soon. But no, I really appreciate your kind words and just like seeing like already like the value and the beauty, and it means a lot.
It is valuable. And I feel like it's another thing, and we could close out here. The thing that I love about it is, like, I think your two concepts together of you could focus on business, you could be, a businesswoman, and then work on this other side of yourself as well, because they all work together to be so as a whole to move you in a certain direction that you want to go. And I think that I love the combination together, because I think a lot of the times we feel like we can only be one thing. I'm an accountant, I'm a teacher, I'm just this one thing, and we forget that we could be many things. We could be an artist and an accountant, we could be this or that, we could be soft and hard, and we could be
Yes.
strong and soft. And I think what you provide is kind of like got incorporating those two combinations together. And for me, when you were telling me about what you're doing, in my mind I was thinking, oh, how lovely is it that, a big part of your service is reminding us and coaching us and teaching us that we could be more than one thing.
Yeah, it's not always like this or that. There's also and. you can
Exactly. And
you can be this and you can be and that. No, so yeah, it's like there's yeah. I mean, this is the thing when you even start ask yourself, how are we designed as human beings? Like it's not separation. It's all one, we want to be expressed as one and not like play different roles. And this is why I always got so distracted, because I was the creative and then I was the coach. And I was like, how can I bring it all together? And then like Women of the Galaxy was born, and I love Star Wars. So it was definitely no doubt about that. I will come up with a brand name that has to do with the galaxy, like the open mindedness, like the big visions, like the big dreaming, and really embrace all of this. Doesn't matter how crazy your ideas are.
yeah, when I read Women of the Galaxy, my thought was, wow, like women could be beyond,
Yes.
what we
Yes.
think we are. So I love the name, I love the concept. Thank you so much, Sandra, for joining me. Before we go, where can people find you on your, wherever you want to share, your Instagram handle, wherever?
Yeah, so basically the website, you mentioned it in the beginning, is womenofthegalaxy.com. Our Instagram handle is womenofthegalaxy.thelabel, because we will also have an apparel line where the profits will run into a startup fund to support other businesses. And then in my personal Instagram is I am Sandra Mack.
Check her out, people. She is so inspiring. She is so kind and so genuine. And if that's the energy that you are needing, she is your person. You won't regret it.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you guys so much for hanging out and tuning in with us. If you haven't already, hit the like, subscribe, and share the pod. Hang out with us next time. Bye.